Every so often on this channel we get what I like to call a moment of probably sheer brilliance, where we get a comment that is just indicative of absolutely everything I've been talking about since I really started talking about, alternative therapies. This is someone who has drank the Kool-Aid and is basically completely brainwashed by them, and it's unbelievable. It really is. The amount of stuff this person has probably believed, not because of the evidence that has been presented to him, but because he's been told, and because this has somehow fit his bias. And it is, quite frankly, it's unbelievable. It's really funny, but at the same time it's really sad as well. So let's begin. It's interesting that you believe that science is always the answer. Yeah, science is generally always the answer. It's hard to think of a case when science generally wouldn't be the answer for something. Certainly the Gerson therapy has been attacked by many cancer research societies all over the world. Why? Because it doesn't work, and because it's putting people's lives at danger. That's why, Elcrom, I'm sorry, that's why. Because people using the Gerson therapy have been disappointed by medical doctors. This is his reason. I don't really think so. I think it's because people like you have been told, if you've watched my, the MD Emperor Has No Clothes with, good old Pete, he's constantly saying, without any evidence, that doctors are bad. Doctors are bad. And remember, we're only 9 chapters in at the moment in the book, and literally, if I had a pound for every time he said doctors are bad, I'd be quite rich at the moment. It continues. They don't heal people. Well, that's your opinion. They do heal people. They treat people and make trillions of dollars doing it. I don't think they make that much money. To be honest, I mean, what a career plan. Be a doctor, treat one person for trillions of dollars, and then you can just retire on those, trillions of dollars. Big pharma companies lose a lot of money because people are finding out that the problem is that food and the body's inability to cleanse itself and or be cleansed properly because of low quality food. You can't heal yourself with food. I'm sorry, you can't. You can control some diseases and conditions with diet, but you are not cured. The Gerson therapy do this a lot with diabetes, and I've seen a lot of people comment and they said, I had diabetes and then I went to the Gerson therapy, now I'm cured. Sorry, you're not. You are not cured at all. That is a complete lie. The only reason you can cure type 2 diabetes is if you're a woman and you happen to be pregnant and you've just given birth. That's the only reason you can actually cure type 2 diabetes. But a lot of people, in fact I've had 2 or 3 people in the past that have come on and said that they've cured themselves of that because of the Gerson therapy. They are not cured in the slightest. And this is where it gets good. Gerson founders don't believe in science. Yes, congratulations, Elcrom, that is correct. They don't believe in science. And they are not trying to be validated by science. Well, you'd think that if you had a cure for chemotherapy, well, not chemotherapy, for cancer, that was a lot cheaper and supposedly far more effective, you'd think you'd want it to be validated by science to prove that it actually worked. And yet, they haven't. So it's very obvious that they don't believe in science, and the reason why they don't want to be validated by science, and the reason why they've never ever done any formal testing for science, is because they'd be proven wrong, and that there would be evidence there, set in stone. The Gerson therapy does not work, and that would be essentially the death knell for the Gerson therapy, because anytime anyone would search for, does the Gerson therapy work, bang would be that paper staring you in the face. That is why they don't want to do it. Many people don't believe in medical science, and that has been to the detriment of them, and that has been to the death of them. And before your life is over, you won't either. No, I think I will still believe in medical science. You're young, and here we go, the appeal to emotion. You're young, you can't see what's being done. I hope you become a medical doctor, and then you will get to see what they really do. It is not rocket science that a good diet and flushing the body would help people. A good diet does, but not flushing the body. Detoxification is not scientifically proven. It is incredibly dangerous. The coffee enemas are incredibly dangerous. They have killed people, and they've caused people to have loss of bowel control. That is a proven fact. No one would ever recommend you do coffee enemas in the way that the Gerson therapy would, because it can lead to doing you harm. Yes. It is not complicated. Yes, cancer is quite complicated. I don't even understand all of cancer, and I'll tell you now, the people at the Gerson therapy do not understand cancer. And because they... And because they have no respect for the medical community, well, that's pretty obvious, as I've said already. They don't care how science looks at it. Well, again, I think if you were advertising a treatment, you want them to care. The drugs are toxic, and the side effects alone kill more people than the Gerson therapy ever will. Well, yes, that is true, that drugs are toxic, but again, we've just done a video on about how an autistic boy was hospitalised for a naturopathic drug treatment. Again, drugs are toxic, but again, trust your doctor. Don't overdose. Keep to what, the label says, which is the largest problem, by the way, of people dying is people overdosing, not because of, doctors, giving them, but it's because the patient actually decides, I'm going to over-medicate. That is the biggest problem they are facing in America. And if you look, there are several studies that actually look into this, and it is not the doctor's fault, it is the patients themselves over-medicating and, going to over-the-counter, buying painkillers and becoming addicted to them. And the other thing about that was, we don't know how many people the Gerson therapy has actually ever killed because they don't keep these records. Infamously, the Gerson therapy, if you have been there and you were, say you got sick while you were there, or your cancer got worse, then you can expect a taxi ride to Denny's across the border to be dropped off. That has happened numerous times. There's a lot of people that can verify it and that have said it. It is true. And they don't keep the people who have died either. They don't follow up on these people. So we never know how many people they actually have ever killed, because they don't keep records for it. But I suspect it's quite a lot. You can't find the dirt because there is none. Well, actually, there's loads of dirt. It's very easy to look up, as I've just said. Coffee enemas are very safe and they work. No, they don't. We've already been through that. They are very dangerous and cause people loss of bowel control. I do not call that safe and work. I know people that have taken them over 40 years, for 40 years, and they are very healthy. But I bet they don't have, bowel control, for example. Because Big Pharma can't get in on this, then they slam it. Well, actually, they could very easily. What's to stop Big Pharma from starting to produce coffee enemas? They could get in on it very easily. That's something that you've deluded yourself into doing, into thinking. A person pays a few thousand for the Gerson therapy program to fight a disease. Well, they pay more than a few thousand. They pay a couple of thousand. But medical doctors, they pay $50,000 and for extremely extended periods, like the Gerson therapy does, and suffer the side effects. They don't suffer a lot of side effects unless you're going to chemo. There are side effects, but again, the doctors will always try to minimize as many side effects as possible. But again, Gerson therapy does have side effects. I've done a video on all the side effects of Gerson therapy. They don't tell you about the side effects because to them, oh, there's no side effects. They pay money, take toxic drugs. They then die broke, maxed out insurance policies. It's a good thing they have insurance policies, so they are then covered, whereas the Gerson therapy is not, and will charge patients hundreds of thousands of dollars for this treatment, and they con people. And in one case, particular Jennifer Frusley, her aunt is still paying for the Gerson therapy treatment, even though I'm pretty sure if she got a lawyer involved, she wouldn't have to pay a single dime. These people are going and getting help in just a few months, and taught that natural maintenance plan of eating healthily and properly, cleansing the body, again, doesn't work. I don't know how many more times I can say it. He continues, doctors torture a patient, no they don't, amputate legs, breasts and more than that. Again, amputation is very often the last case of resort, however it is very often necessary. Look at the case of Jessica Rainscott, for example, who they had isolated it to a certain part of the body and they said, okay, we're going to have to amputate your arm. Now, she would very much probably be alive and certainly would have died in pain that she had, but she decided to go the Gerson therapy route. And of course, her mother infamously didn't go down any traditional path, thinking that, if her daughter's getting well, bear in mind her mother bought into her own daughter's rhetoric and ended up dying from a very easily simple, curable form of breast cancer that could have been cured, but because she bought into her own daughter's, logic and quackery, she ended up paying the price. Giving them a day and you will die after taking all... Oh, hang on, what's the place? Yep. Give them a day that you will die and taking all of your money and sending you on your way. You will understand better as you get older. No, I understand perfectly well better now. I doubt that's very much going to change as I get older. I very much have full and trustful faith in the medical community and medical science. That is not going to change as I get older. Likelihood I will be going to the doctor more as I get older because that's what happens. Your body shuts down. It loses its ability to heal itself, despite what the Gerson therapies say. Your body starts to shut down as you get older, hence you have more problems as you get older. So anyway, he continues. Nobody cares no more what the scientific community thinks. Yes, you should care. You should care a great deal what the scientific community thinks. They have been supporters for Big Pharma for decades. Big Pharma makes the drugs, basically. They do what the scientific community says to do. They perform research for Big Pharma so then they can produce the drugs. Again, this guy is a conspiracy theorist. Here we go. Big Pharma is the granddaddy of the international or global scams of all time. You're young when you get the truth. If you care for people at all, you will weep while you learn what their real agenda is. Here we go. Conspiracy time. Look into depopulation. Really, then why is the population of the planet continually going up? Research Big Pharma. Monsanto's. Because it's not a good conspiracy without Monsanto being involved somehow. And how they all want to depopulate the Earth because they say that the carbon footprint is too high, and that is the reason for floods and tsunamis and earthquakes, etc. Well, there you go, folks. That's the truth. Read the data on depopulation. You're young and uninformed. You don't know what's going on. People are getting ill, and this is not on accident. And it will get worse. Young people with no energy, no life, people suffering. You will see it. You will understand. Young one. What are we in Star Wars now? People know when they feel better. No, you don't know when you feel better. That is a big problem because you don't know what is going on inside your body. You could have a cancer that is growing on you and you wouldn't know until it's starting to cause you pain. This is, again, a problem, and this is what has caused a lot of people to die because the Gerson therapy is proclaimed, you are cured, go forth. And then they've gone forth and died, a month or 2 months later because the cancer the Gerson therapy said they'd cured was not cured. And what more can you say? But hey, this is someone who is completely brainwashed, and you can see how far they are brainwashed. It is just unbelievable to level extent. They were given a date of death and they are still here years later. Well, more to the fact they got lucky, and there's a very, very few amount that actually got lucky. They don't care about science. Well, they should care. They care about people. Well, they should care about science more, and then that will help them to care about people more, because then they won't cause these people so much, injury and pain. And it's a good business. It is a good business. They make ridiculous amounts of money off it. Off, victims. And these people can't sue them if something goes wrong because they're in Mexico. And they should be rewarded for blessing people and saving them from mad doctors and their big pharma friends. You will see very soon. Do some real research. I have done research and everything points to the Gerson therapy not working. You seem to be in La La Land about what is really happening. Well, I'm not the one in La La Land. You are. Because what you have just said is so ridiculous, it's unbelievable. It's evil what the medical community are doing to people with the help of Big Papa Pharma. Stay tuned, you'll see. It is just absolutely insane. It really, really is a level some people have just conned themselves. And this is really sad, unfortunately, but there you go. Yeah. It's funny, but when you think about the consequences this person might have to face if they get seriously ill, and the money they might pay out to someone like a quack, you now see why I call these people victims.